السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تبارك وتعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد فيا عباد الله، يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه العزيز بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات سيجعل لهم الرحمن ودا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Even though we've had a 3-week long break, inshallah, I think we're ready to continue now. The topic that we were going off is that there are 10 sifat, 10 attributes for a pure heart. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. There are 10 attributes for a pure heart. Alhamdulillah, we've already done 3 attributes. So today, inshallah, we're going to go over the 4th attribute. الصفة الرابعة سليم إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. What does Salim mean? Salim literally means to be safe, peace. Islam, Salim, Islam saying to submit, security. What does it mean? We've been talking about having a pure heart, a clean heart. Clean heart from what? What does our heart need to be clean from? And we have gone over and over the importance of having a clean heart, because it will make you an amazing and a practicing Muslim, and a Muslim that's connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in today's lecture, we're going to go over how important that connection with Allah is. Meaning you don't need anything else but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So pure from what? Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, he says, وَالْقَلْبُ السَّلِيمُ هو الذي سلم من الشرك والغل والحقد والحسد والشح والكبر وحب الدنيا والرياسة. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, he says, your heart needs to be clean from 8 things. Your heart needs to be clean from 8 things. Number 1, shirk. Number 2, hatred. And he used 2 words for hatred. So those are 2, basically 3. Number 3 or number 4, jealousy. Number 5, arrogance. Number 6, greed. Number 7, hubb al-dunya, the love of this dunya. And number 8, the love of leadership, wa riyasa, being in a high position. I want to be in a high position. It's going to be very difficult to cover all 8 in this session, but in the next 2-3 weeks we'll go over all 8. So today, inshallah, we're going to try to cover 3 of them. And literally each 8 of these, you can have long lectures on each 8. On every single one of these, you can have a long lecture on. Inshallah, I'm going to try to be as brief as I can, and today we'll try to cover 3. 3, or basically you can say 4, because hatred is of 2 types. So shirk, hatred, and jealousy is what we're going to try to cover in today's lecture. What is shirk? Number one was shirk. Yani our heart needs to be clean. Salima an shirk. To be clean from shirk. What is shirk? Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. There is two types of shirk. Number one, shirk akbar. Number two, shirk asghar. Shirk akbar, literally, it refers to ascribing and associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and worshipping them. Al-ishraku billah. Yani min al-kaba'ir, al-ishraku billah. One of the major sins is associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the greatest major sin, al-ishraku billah, to associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is a minor version of associating partners with Allah. There is a minor version of associating partners with Allah, and that is what shirk asghar is. So you can see that al-ishraku billah, associating partners with Allah, is the worst sin that any person can commit. The minor sin, the minor version of it, has an equal effect. Not at the same level, but it's somewhat close. Shirk asghar, in summary, refers to doing actions or good deeds for the creation instead of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To an extent, all of us have this issue, this minor shirk. And by doing deeds, by doing certain things for the creation and not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it leads to our good deeds being wasted. And Mahmud ibn Labid al-Ansari radiyallahu ta'ala, he says, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن أخوف ما أخاف عليكم الشرك الأصغر. The thing that I fear you for the most upon my ummah is shirk asghar. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he continues the narration. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, this shirk al-asghar is called al-riya. Al-riya, associating or showing off. Our Ustad, Shaykh al-Hadith Marad al-Muisa, he used to tell us, every day you should make this dua. Oh Allah, grant me ikhlas and sincerity in whatever I do. Every day make this dua. Allah, grant me ikhlas and sincerity in everything that I do. This is very important. Because all of us somewhat by human nature, we do things to show off. By nature sometimes. And inshallah we'll go over that. The Prophet continues. He says, إِنَّ أَخْوَفَ مَا أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ الشِّرْكَ الْأَصْغَرِ. The thing that I fear the most for my ummah is الشِّرْكَ الْأَصْغَرِ. يعني الرِّيَاء. يقول الله عز وجل إِذَا جَزَى النَّاسَ بِأَعْمَالِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, after He has looked at all your actions. Okay, he did this, she did this, you did these good deeds, you read Quran, you did ibadah, you prayed salah, you did some charity work, you did all of these things. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at it, He will tell those people, اذهبوا إلى الذين كنتم تراؤون في الدنيا. Okay. You read Quran, you didn't read it from me. You did all of these ibadat, you didn't do it for me. You did all of this charity work, you didn't do it for me. You gave all of this sadaqah and donations and zakat, you didn't do it for me. So you know what I want you to do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to tell them, اذهبوا إلى الذين كنتم تراؤون في الدنيا. Those people whom you were showing off in front of, go to them. Go to them. And ask them, هل تجدون عندهم جزاء? Ask them if they're going to give you any good deed. Ask them what your reward is for showing off. Allah said, you didn't do it for me. You didn't read Quran for me. You didn't pray salah for me. You did it for them. Okay, now go ask them for the reward. You want Jannah? Go ask them. Extremely important. What we do is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a story that a person, he was praying in a room by himself. And he heard the door open. And he thought maybe someone came in. So he started doing long rukus, long sujood, and started praying these long salahs. And then he completed his salah. And after he was done, made dua and did all of these things, he turned around and he realized There was a cat that came in through the door. So who was he praying for? The cat. He thought someone was watching him. So he wanted to show off in front of that person. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, every time he read this verse, he used to cry, عَامِلَةٌ نَاصِبَةٌ تَصْلَى نَارًا حَامِيَةً. Every time he read this verse, he cried. Surah Al-Ghashiyah. عَامِلَةٌ نَاصِبَةٌ تَصْلَى نَارًا حَامِيَةً. What is Allah saying? There will be people that work so hard in this dunya. They will be exhausted. They did long salahs, they read Quran for so long, they prayed the Taraweeh prayers, the Tahajjud prayers, they did all of these things. عَامِلَةٌ نَاصِبَةٌ. They worked extremely hard to the extent they exhausted themselves. And Allah says, تَصْلَى نَارًا حَامِيَةً. Tasla, they're going to enter into Jahannam. Umar radiallahu anhu would cry every time he read this verse. He's saying to himself, I did all of this work. I did so much, I did so much, I did so much. And I'm scared that Allah still might send me to Jahannam because I don't know if my intentions will appear. He was worried. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he says, I wish I died when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was alive. I wish I died when the Prophet ﷺ was still alive. Because even if I didn't do things for Allah, even if my intention wasn't pure, I know who was going to lead my janazah. I know who was going to make dua for me. Who's Umar? Amir al-Mu'mineen. The greatest human beings on the face of this earth are the Anbiya alayhim as-salatu was-salam. After the Prophet ﷺ, the greatest human being is Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. After Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala, number 2 is Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala. In his time, he conquered half of the ummah. When the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with the Sahaba, one day, what did he say? Abu Bakr fil Jannah, Umar fil Jannah. About Umar radiallahu ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Abu Bakr is in Jannah, Umar radiallahu ta'ala is in Jannah, and they are famously known as the Ashra Mubashara, the 10 people who were given the glad tidings of Jannah in their lifetime. And that Umar, and Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he's saying, when I read this verse, عَامِلَةٌ نَاصِبَةٌ تَصْلَى نَارًا حَامِيَةً, that those people who exhausted themselves, they did so much work, they're going to enter Jahannam. Umar radiallahu ta'ala says, I fear that I'm amongst them. Because I don't know if I showed off or not. I don't know if my intentions were pure or not. What is the cause of Shirk Asghar? Why do we show off? Because we are overly concerned with pleasing people. In Urdu we say, Log kya kahenge? What will people say? What will people say? We're constantly worried. We are constantly worried with pleasing people. You know what the problem with that is? No matter how hard you try, someone just won't like you. If the greatest of human beings, of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, did everyone love him? No. Did everyone love the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? No. There's a lot of people who didn't accept Islam in his time. So if there is someone that could get every single person to love the Prophet ﷺ, to love someone, it would be the Prophet ﷺ. Yes, we as Muslims, we have to love him. Because of how much he's done for us. But he ﷺ could not get every single human being to be happy with him. Even if they were in his company. The likes of Abdullah ibn Ubay, Ra'is al-Munafiqin. The likes of Abdullah ibn Ubay, he had some jealousy in his heart too. And he is the leader of the hypocrites. Even though he was in the company of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He never truly accepted Islam. We are overly concerned with pleasing people. We have become the slaves of this dunya. See, when a person is focused on getting approval from others and pleasing them, he is essentially enslaved to them. It is impossible to be happy in such a state because there's always someone who will not be happy. See, Allah mentions this in the Quran. Indirectly. This is the beauty of the Quran. You really have to study it. He indirectly mentioned it. ضرب الله مثلا رجلا فيه شركاء متشاكسون. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually addressing in this verse that what Allah gives an example of a man who has many leaders, a slave who has many masters. When slavery was there, a slave could have multiple masters. So what do you think about a slave who has multiple masters? Mutashakisuna, they're always arguing. You're always arguing, no, I want to use him for that. No, I want to use him for that. No, I want to use him for that. And they're always constantly arguing. وَرَجُلًا سَلَمًا لِرَجُلٍ. And another slave who's only owned by one man, one master. هَلْ يَسْتَوِيَّانِ مَثَلًا. Are they equal? The example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving is about having multiple gods. Trying to prove the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But now I'm going to take it down another level. If you have multiple people that you are enslaved to pleasing, okay, I want to make him happy, I want to make her happy, I want to make everyone happy with me. You are becoming enslaved, they are going to constantly argue. No, one person, they don't like it when you talk too loud in your speeches. Other people, they like a soft tone in the speeches. When you get too loud, it's not as fun. Some people like monotone, one tone. Other people like excitement, up and down. Other people are like, no, keep it academic. Other people are saying, no, I want it spiritual. Other people are saying, no, I want it motivational. Other people are saying, you know, you don't have enough emotions in your speech. Other people are saying, your speech is too long. Other people are saying, your speech is too short. You can never please everyone. I liked it when your speeches were 5 minutes. I don't like it when they're 30 minutes. I like it when your speeches are 30 minutes. I don't like it when they're 10 minutes. You can never please everyone. So when we're constantly concentrating on pleasing others, then we will never be able to please them. That means we'll never be happy. So we'll continuously show off. Another thing that happens is when we want to please everyone. Let's say our parents tell us to do something, or our elders tell us to do something, or someone we're close to tells us to do something. And then someone else calls us, that's close to us, also tells us to do something. Another problem is, you want to please both of them. But in order to please both of them, you have to lie. You know, I'm just going to go to the store and come right back. And then whatever you want, I'll handle it. Whereas you're lying because you want to go help someone else. Now, if you tell this person that you're going to go help that person, then this person is going to be upset with you. So now you have to lie to people to please everyone. I don't want to upset that person, so I'm not going to tell him I'm helping so and so. It'll lead to lies. What is the solution? Understanding that pleasing Allah is the ultimate solution. If we focus on pleasing Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ensure that we are granted happiness and acceptance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. Those who believe and do righteous deeds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will appoint for them affection, love, wudda, وَهُوَ الْغَفُورُ الْوَدُودُ. And when the nikah ceremonies happen, usually I talk about this verse, وَمَنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala joins two people together, He places between them mawadda. In Arabic, another word for love is mahabba. In Urdu, we say muhabbat. In Arabic, it's mahabbat. So mahabbat and mawadda both mean love. Mawadda means a deeper meaning of love. So Allah says, if you believe and you do righteous deeds, I will put a deep amount of affection and love within you. And the poem, there's a poet that explains this in a poem, showing you the importance of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, فَلَيْتَكَ تَحْلُو وَالْحَيَاةُ مَرِيرًا وَلَيْتَكَ تَرْضَى وَالْأَنَامُ غِدَرٌ وليت الذي بيني وبينك عامر وبيني وبين العالمين خراب إذا نلت منك الود فالكل هي وكل الذي فوق التراب تراب. He says, فليتك تحلو والحياة مريرة. He's talking about earning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love. You don't need anyone else. فليتك تحلو والحياة مريرة. I wish that my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes sweet, even if the rest of my life is bitter. I wish that my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes sweet, even if the rest of my life is bitter. وَلَيْتَكَ تَرْضَى وَالْأَنَامُ غِضَى. I wish that I wish that I would be happy, even if this entire dunya and this entire world is angry with me. وَلَيْتَكَ تَرْضَى وَالْأَنَامُ غِضَى. I wish that I was happy, even if the rest of the world doesn't like me. I don't care. وَلَيْتَ الَّذِي بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكَ عَامٍ وَبَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ الْعَالَمِينَ خَرَابٌ. I wish that the relationship between me and Allah is amir, it's strong, and the relationship between me and the rest of this dunya is broken and destroyed. إِذَا نِلْتُ مِنْكَ الْوُدَّ فَالْكُلُّ حَيٍّ وَكُلَّ الَّذِي فَوْقَ التَّرَابِ تَرَابِ. Oh Allah, if I am able to achieve your love, then everything is easy for me. If I am able to achieve your love, then everything is easy for me and I have everything that I need. And then everything above the ground and below the ground, they're both equal to me. Everything above the ground and below the ground, they're both equal to me. In other words, oh Allah, rather I'm above the ground or I'm below the ground and I return to you, they're equal with me, they're equal to me because I have your love. I don't need anything else. We really don't need anything else. If we have the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our intention is to please Him, everyone else will not mean anything to us. That's number one. Number two, jealousy and hatred. And I'm going to address both of them together, inshallah. And we're only going to talk about these three. So these two are two together, jealousy and hatred. Although that they are separate diseases of the heart, there are many hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ that mention both of them together, because they're very closely linked. Jealousy often leads to hatred. Jealousy often leads to hatred. What is jealousy? Jealousy means jealousy means wanting a person to lose a certain blessing they have and the desire to have that blessing. Meaning you don't want them to have that blessing, but you want it. That is what jealousy is. When you see someone else with a blessing, you want them to lose that blessing and you want that blessing. That is what jealousy is. Envy means that someone has something, you're happy they have it, and you also want it. Not that you want them to lose it. You're happy for them, but you also want it. A major sign of jealousy is the inability to genuinely be happy for others. A major sign of jealousy is the inability to genuinely be happy for others. What does jealousy lead to? The Prophet ﷺ mentions in a hadith, a very lengthy hadith. And he ﷺ said to the Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala majma'in, دَبَّ إِلَيْكُمْ دَاءُ الْأُمَمِ قَبْلَكُمْ الْحَسَدُ وَالْبَغْضَاءُ هِيَ الْحَالِقَةُ. The Prophet ﷺ said to the Sahaba radiyallahu majma'in, the disease of the nations before you is creeping towards you. The disease of the nations before you is creeping towards you. Jealousy and hatred. هي الحالقة. It is حالقة. حالقة, like a razor. A razor to shave hair. لا أقول تحلق الشعر. I'm not saying this razor, the razor that you know of. The Prophet continued. He said, I do not speak of that razor that cuts hair. But what cuts religion, what severes this religion, what breaks you off from this deen? The Prophet ﷺ said, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِي لَا تَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةِ. The Prophet ﷺ said, I swear by the one in whose hand is my soul, you will not enter paradise حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا, until you believe. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا, and you will not be able to believe حَتَّى تَحَابُّوا, and you will not be able to believe until you love one another. You will not be able to believe until you love one another. Shall I tell you about what will strengthen that love for you? Spread salam amongst each other. Afsha salama baynakum. Spread salam between each other. Spread salam amongst each other. You see another Muslim brother, go say salam. You come to the masjid, go say salam. Go shake their hand. After salah is over, go say salam. Just spread salam amongst each other, the Prophet ﷺ said, and you will slowly be able to remove that hatred and make it into love. There's a famous hadith about the Prophet ﷺ. Hubbuka shay. Loving something or someone, yu'mi wa yusam. It makes you deaf and blind. When someone has deep love for something or someone, it makes you deaf and blind. You can't see anything else, you can't hear anything else. But just like love makes you deaf and blind to looking at their faults, likewise the opposite applies as well. Hatred of a person also blinds and makes a person deaf. It blinds us and makes us fall into the following sins. When you love something deeply, it blinds you. You can't see their faults. And when you hate someone deeply, it leads to the following sins. Number one, it blinds us from being able to see any good in our enemy. Everything about them is bad. Number two, any negative information we hear about them, we automatically assume it to be true, and we feel that there is no need for verification. We are even ready to spread it. Okay, that person did this. Well, you know what he did before? I know he did this for sure. I don't even need to verify it. This is against the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. As a matter of fact, the Prophet ﷺ said, to make a decision without hearing both sides, without verifying it, is like slaughtering something with a dull knife. Qurbani just happened. From amongst the etiquettes of Qurbani is to make sure that your knife is sharpened, so it easily and swiftly cuts the animal. It doesn't get defeat to the animal. It doesn't cause pain to the animal. Whereas if you use a dull knife and you're slaughtering the animal, then it's going to cause it a lot of pain because the knife is not as sharp. So it leads you to assuming something is true that you hear without verifying it. And now you spread it. Now you're spreading something that could possibly be false. That's a sin too. Number three, we feel that backbiting them and riba is justified. There's nothing wrong with it. This person is full of bad. I'm trying to warn you, stay away from him. You don't know this person like I do. Stay away from him, stay away from her. And number four, we become happy when they suffer. We become happy when they suffer. And that is dangerous. Because if you feel happy when someone else suffers, you won't die till you suffer something similar. You won't die till you suffer something similar. So the main cause of hatred and jealousy is because we don't know how to be happy with others. Some other reasons is because we're not content with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and we're constantly greedy. We want more. Okay, Allah gave us a car. No, I'm not happy. I want another car. Allah gave us a certain mattress. No, I'm not happy. I want a better mattress. Allah gave me a certain type of clothes. No, I'm not happy. I want another one. We're not content with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and that leads to hatred and jealousy. Because when we see someone else with something we want, We automatically become angry with them and jealous of them. Another reason and cause of hatred and jealousy is arrogance. We think, I'm good. How come they got to go for Hajj? I want to be able to go for Hajj too. I'm the best person. How come they get that? I do more ibadah than them. How come they're getting this and I'm not? How come they have more money than me? How come they have more friends than me? How come they're more famous than me? How come they have more power than me? I'm better than them. I deserve it. We believe we deserve things and other people don't deserve it. Arrogance. Another reason is lack of self-reflection. We only see the faults of others and never think about our own faults. We're perfect. Everyone else, they're full of faults. I'm amazing and there's nothing wrong with me. Everyone else is full of faults. You see, sometimes it's important to read the stories of our pious predecessors. Read their biography, you'll learn so much. Once Mufti Samir, Hafidahullah. Mufti Samir with his father, Mufti Shafii Rahimullah. Mufti Shafii Rahimullah is the author of Ma'rif al-Quran. And he's the founder of the Ulum Karachi. And, from amongst the murids and followers of Sheikh Maulana Shafii Tanwir Rahmatullahi alayhi. So one time, Mufti Taki, he narrates a story. He says, I was with my father, Mufti Shafii Rahimullah. And in Pakistan, it's known that there's people that are on the streets as beggars, and they do this as a business. They're beggars as a business. They're not really poor, but it's a good business. So Mufti Taki says, I was with my father, Mufti Shafii Rahimullah, one time. And some beggars came to them, and they were pushing my father to give them some gift, some money. So Mufti Shafii Rahimullah, he gave the beggars some money, and he went ahead. So Mufti Taki sat and asked his father. He said, oh my father, a lot of these beggars, they beg as a business, but do not actually need it. Do they even deserve our money? Oh my father, these beggars, they do it as a business. They don't actually need it. Do they deserve our money? Shafii Rahimullah, he gave such an amazing response. He said, oh Taki, what would happen if Allah was to give only to us if and when we deserve? What would happen if Allah was to give only to us if and when we deserve it? We don't deserve anything we have, yet we do not have an issue taking it. Why do we complain when it comes to others? Why do we complain when it comes to others? When Allah is giving us blessings, we don't deserve it, we're not complaining about that. The Prophet ﷺ said in a narration, إِذَا فُتِحَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ فَارِسْ وَالرُّومُ. The Prophet ﷺ had told the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, remember, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they're in the Arabian Peninsula. Gharib, kuch log, they're nothing, they're poor people, savages. They don't have any, they're not civilized at all. There's no structure, there's no organization. This small area, the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire, they didn't even care about this land. They're savages, we don't really care about them. And the Prophet ﷺ had told them, a time will come where you will conquer the Persian and the Roman Empire. The Prophet ﷺ had told them, a time will come when you Sahaba, who are so weak, who don't even have weapons, you're going to conquer and overtake the Roman and the Persian Empire. That in itself is enough to show you the truth of Islam. How true Islam is. Anyways, the Prophet ﷺ said, how would you be, O people, when Persia and Rome would be conquered for you? Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu ta'ala, he responded, he said, we would say, as Allah has commanded us, and we would express our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أَوَ غَيْرَ ذَلِكَ. You don't think anything else is going to happen? You think you're just going to be happy and express your gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Prophet ﷺ said, no, no, no. You know what's going to happen? You're going to compete one another with one another. You're going to compete with one another. Then you're going to feel, you would feel jealous. Then your relationship would be estranged. Then you will bear enmity against one another. Oh, he said something to that effect. Then you would go to the poor immigrants and make some of them the masters of others. When you conquer the Roman and the Persian Empire, it's going to lead to enmity, it's going to lead to hatred, it's going to lead to jealousy. That is the effect of money. That is the effect of money. We all want it. We all desire it. Another cause that leads to jealousy and hatred is not openly communicating. Many times we feel something in our heart, but we do not have the capacity to fully forgive and forget because we do not want to discuss it in a respectful manner with the person we're having an issue with. And this leads to building ill feelings. Then it involves in gossip. And hearing bad things about others has an effect on our hearts. The Prophet ﷺ, he said to the Sahaba, which is such a beautiful point. He said, لا يبلغوني أحد من أصحابه عن أحد شيئا. He said to the Sahaba, I don't want any of you, I don't want you guys to come to me and tell me bad about another companion. I don't want to hear it. For I would like to go to my brothers, I would like to go to my companions without any ill feelings. Don't tell me. You saw them do something wrong, please don't tell me. What do? Well, tell me more. Tell me the whole thing. Tell me everything. Tell me everything wrong that they did. I want to hear the whole thing. Whereas the Prophet said, I don't want to hear it. Okay, if he did something bad, you saw it, that's between you and him. You work on forgiving him. As a matter of fact, the Prophet advised them, conceal and hide their faults. Conceal and hide their faults. And the Prophet gave a hadith after that. It said a statement. Man satara, whosoever conceals the faults of another Muslim brother and sister, then on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will conceal their faults. And I'll end with this, inshallah. What is the solution of getting rid of jealousy and hatred? Learn to love other people sincerely. Be happy for their success. And we can achieve this by doing a few things. Number one, taking time out to make sincere dua for people, even those who have hurt you and those you dislike. Make dua for them. With sincerity, make dua for them. Number two, the Prophet ﷺ says, Tahadaw tahaddu. Exchange gifts and increase your love with one another. Go give gifts. Randomly call someone up, buy them a gift. This is from amongst the teachings of the Prophet. Oh, I was thinking about you, I just felt like buying this for you. I was at Walmart, I bought this for you. I was at Kroger, I bought this for you. I was going through Amazon, I bought this for you. So easy. You don't even need to go to their house. Text them, hey, what's your house address? Why are you asking? There's going to be something at your doorstep. Don't worry, it's not going to be something bad, it's going to be something good. Okay, order from Amazon. And nowadays, from Amazon, you can give gifts anonymously. You don't even have to tell them. You can hide the name. But, Ma'ash Marifani rahimahullah used to say, that don't give me a gift without me knowing who gave the gift. Because the purpose of exchanging gifts is to increase love. So if you gave a gift, tell them you're giving the gift so they love you. So this anonymous stuff is only good when you give to the masjid. When you give for Islam, then it's good. But when it's for one another, it's not. Because we're supposed to increase love. So give gifts to each other. When you see someone when they have some happiness or success, show support for them. Fake it. Try to push yourself to show support for them. And lastly, I'll end with this hadith. Learn not to hold things in your heart. Instead, communicate with respect. If it's not possible to do it directly, involve a mediator or a neutral third person to have this conversation. The Prophet ﷺ was with Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala. And Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala served the Prophet ﷺ for 10 years. So the Prophet ﷺ loved Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala like a son. So he said to Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala one day, Ya bunayya, O my son, in qadarta an tusbiha wa tumsi, laysa fi qalbika ghishun li ahadan fa'al. O my son, if you are capable of waking up in the morning and ending the evening while there is nothing of deception in your heart for anything, then do so. Clean your heart, order, let it go. Then he said to me, O my son, ya bunayya, وَذَلِكَ مِنْ سُنَّتِي وَمَنْ أَحْيَا سُنَّتِي فَقَدْ أَحَبَّنِي وَمَنْ أَحَبَّنِي كَانَ مَعِي فِي الْجَنَّةِ. The Prophet said to Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala that is from my sunnah. And whoever revives my sunnah, then he has loved me. And whoever has loved me, he shall be with me in Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength to clean our hearts, to remove any minor shirk, to remove the feeling of showing off from us, to remove any enmity, hatred, grudge, jealousy, whatever it may be. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clean and purify our hearts. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah. Inshallah, there will be refreshments for everyone. Inshallah, everyone is welcome to join. Inshallah.